Because the judge was extremely unfriendly to Janine, and frankly, I think she choked because the judge was really vicious. Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department, and I guess she choked. I don't know what the hell happened.
David Hearn is the Olympian who was charged with damaging the reflecting pool. He was facing a felony and up to 10 years in prison. Now, thankfully, those charges have been dropped, and now MAGA, Donald Trump, is crashing out. Let's take a look.
Was this part of the pool specifically? Did some of was the sealant already partially removed? Did he rip it back and just describe in detail? Because he maintains that it looks the same as it did before he arrived. That's his.
You know, I'm not going to get into the evidence, but what I told you is what our witnesses
no shit, you're not.
saw and experienced. There was an effort, a violent effort, to rip up the sealant from the bottom of the pool. And irrespective of whether or not, you know, we think that, you know, there is some situation that preceded it, we can state and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he caused damage. And that damage is over $1,000.
Wow.
How do you prove that $1,000?
With an expert. Come to the trial.
It has to be drained, like just,
we will.
We'll hear all that at the trial.
Down.
Or was it just his bare hands?
Save me a seat.
Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands.
So does that indicate in your belief that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he?
Oh, he damaged it.
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
Before he touched it.
He damaged this pool.
But there have been all these videos.
Well, good. I'm glad you got that evidence. Come on in the grand jury. You can testify. Next.
Spicy. Janine Pirro don't take no shit from the press, man. Hey, how come you don't want to show the evidence? Maybe it's because you don't have any. So glad that the charges got dismissed, because that is some fascist, dictatorial stuff right there. Let's check in with David, see how he's doing.
The man who was charged with damaging the reflecting pool speaking exclusively to CNN. A judge officially tossed the Justice Department's case against David Hearn. In a court filing, prosecutors acknowledged there is not evidence to support the administration's initial claim that Hearn was responsible for damaging the pool.
Can you just tell us how you're feeling tonight?
I'm feeling like quite a bit relieved now that the case has actually been dismissed officially, but I'm still pretty concerned about innocent people being accused by the government of things they didn't do. It's a really unsettling feeling for me.
I mean, what went through your mind last Friday when the Justice Department filed that court filing, dropping the charges against you and saying, actually, it wasn't vandalism, it was just a botched installation?
This whole thing has been really surreal and absurd. I think a lot of people feel that way. Again, it's a relief, but there's a attachment to that relief of extreme concern for other people and for our country.
You're someone who is an Olympian, who represented the United States on the global stage. I imagine you probably never thought you would find yourself in the crosshairs of the Justice Department.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. It's really a different time in the United States of America right now. We all need to be vigilant in this climate.
Yeah. So any regular person can tell that the reflecting pool wasn't ruined by vandalism. Like that's pretty obvious just by when you take the whole thing into context. They rebuilt it super fast. It was a no bid contract. Like the fact that they just picked like a random person that was near the pool at some point that pulled some of the paint out and tried to charge them with a felony and put them in prison for 10 years. That's some dark shit right there. That is some straight up fascism stuff right there. Like that is now you're trying to put people in prison and they didn't even do anything wrong. That's like you're blaming this guy and it was 7 other people that got indicted for your failure. It's kind of like the COVID thing. Like Trump was in charge of COVID. He made all the calls. He listened to his advisors and he made the calls and he did the thing. And now 6 years later, Trump and MAGA are blaming, Fauci for Trump's mistakes. This is classic MAGA. This is classic Donald Trump. Like just zero accountability from this administration. And the fact that they tried to charge this guy with a felony, with a federal crime and put him in prison is, I have no words. I have no words. And where's MAGA at on this one? Where are they at on this one? This whole story is just so sickening and it's so, it's terrifying. It is absolutely, I'm glad he didn't go to prison. What if he did? I don't even know what we do then, but this is crazy, man.
Norm, one thing that the judge did not rule on today and is coming at a later date is whether or not the case is dismissed without prejudice, meaning that the DOJ can't bring this against you again. When do you expect the judge to rule on that and how so?
We'll look forward to having a prompt hearing on that, Kaitlan. The judge has ordered additional briefing. The distinction is if a case is dismissed without prejudice, it can be brought again. With prejudice, it can't be brought again. And the legal test is, if someone is subject to harassment or bad faith. And this whole case is an example of that. So we think it's a very strong case for dismissal with prejudice. We've put in a substantial motion to that effect. It's the seventh filing that we've made with the court, starting the day after Davey was arraigned, saying the evidence here, look at the pictures, the government's own evidence before and after, the pool was unchanged.
Should we expect further legal action from the two of you?
Well, at this point, we're focused on finishing the process, advocating to the court. We want this case dismissed with prejudice. But all options are on the table. Our wonderful legal team, Mary Dorman at the Washington Litigation Group, my colleagues at Democracy Defenders Fund, Steve Levine at Steptoe, we're looking at all the options. American law does not like it when an innocent person is wrongly accused. So we'll make those evaluations after we resolve the dismissal with prejudice.
But you're leaving it open to potentially suing for damages.
All options are on the table, and there are a lot of options when an innocent man is wrongly accused.
I can't imagine that this guy David couldn't sue the DOJ for damages, defamation. Like, it seems like some slam dunk case to win some money from the DOJ.
When you listen to the DC U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro, there, with such bravado in that initial press conference unveiling the charges against you, and you hear her describing what she accused you of that day, what's that like for you?
Yeah, that happened back on July 2nd, more than a month ago, and it was the week before our first arraignment hearing date. That was a little bit of a shock, but it was the things she was saying were so outrageous. I had to try to put together, okay, what did I do that's getting her to say I did these things? Because I didn't know how that connection, I didn't get that.
Her talking about you using your bare hands and violently ripping up the pool, that doesn't line up with what you believe happened that day?
No, I was there on a bike ride and decided to stop by the reflecting pool on my way home as a curious, concerned citizen to see what was happening there at the reflecting pool with the algae growth and this botched repair and renovation job that had been reported on. There was a lot of reports of the peeling blue coating, and I wanted to see for myself what was going on there.
And Kaitlan, the government's own filing says that the case can't be proved beyond a reasonable doubt as is required. It was a botched rush filing. They can't establish, they don't have the evidence. And who is to blame? The Department of the Interior, according to the U.S. Attorney herself.
Well, but you mentioned that press conference happened over a month ago on July 2nd. And the charges you were facing here have a maximum penalty of, I believe, 10 years in jail. Were you losing sleep over this? Did it have an impact on you and your family?
I've definitely been losing sleep. My sleep has been not ideal lately. I did sleep a little bit better last night, and I have been able to keep up as much as I can my bicycle training. I've been trying to do that. That's always a thing that kind of keeps me mentally and physically level in any event, and in this situation, it's definitely been crucial.
Do you want an apology?
Apology would be nice. It's hard to know what that apology might sound like from the people that have been pushing this so hard.
That dude ain't getting no apology. That ain't happening.
And I don't know.
They won't even acknowledge that they're wrong. Like, Trump's still doubling
what that
down.
would sound like. It would be nice to get an apology.
Who do you want an apology from? Jeanine Pirro or Todd Blanche or even President Trump himself?
I think for now we're going to focus on getting the case dismissed. That is the best first step. We think it should be dismissed with prejudice, and then we'll go from there, including considering all legal options.
When you look at this in terms of how the president has responded to what his own U.S. attorney here has said in court, he has not ruled out not firing her from her position. The Interior Secretary, Doug Burgum, that you mentioned there, Norm, wrote after that court filing and said the evidence is clear that vandals have repeatedly caused damage to the reflecting pool. He says some of this was caught on camera. He talks about eyewitness testimony. What is your reaction to hearing a senior official in the government still say that it was vandalism?
It's very unsettling. It's not the United States of America that I know. It's not the United States of America that I've represented in many competitions overseas, including 3 Olympic Games, 13 World Championships. It's just not right. It has to be rejected.
Man, that whole between Pirro saying that with the evidence that she got before she charged him, she got all of that from the Department of the Interior, and that's who leads that is Doug Burgum. Burgum is an absolute Trump stooge. Like, he will do and say exactly what Trump says to a T. Bergram's saying, hey, we got the evidence that this guy, destroyed the pool. And then Jeanine Pirro was like, yeah, dude, they told me that we need to charge them, and they told me that they have evidence, but it turns out that they don't have the evidence. So that's Jeanine Pirro, who's also super MAGA. Like, she's insane MAGA. So for just the fact that Pirro and Bergram are conflicting with each other, and Trump saying that Bergram is right when Pirro's wrong, it's fascinating. It really is, like, to see what happens to Pirro and to see what happens to Bergram. But we did see that Jeanine Pirro was carrying all her stuff out of her office or whatever. It kind of looked like she got fired just from that. But yeah, fascinating.
What would you say to Americans who are watching in terms of what it felt like for you, as someone who has represented the country on the global stage, to be on the other side of the Justice Department?
Well, I mean, this could happen to anybody. If it can happen to me, it could happen to anybody. Nobody's immune to
True.
this kind of government.
True. He's white and he was in the Olympics. So that's MAGA's favorite people. But he's not racist. He's not homophobic. He might be, but I don't. He doesn't code that way. But
Lawlessness, essentially, and it's really the kind of thing that you think a country ruled by a dictator. That's where you see that kind of thing. And this is not the land of the free and the home of the brave that I know.
Do you believe Jeanine Pirro when she says that she didn't have evidence turned over to her by the Interior Department before she charged your client?
I think the assertions that were made in the government's filing last Friday, that they didn't realize what had happened until they got this Department of the Interior data dump, do not carry water. Everybody saw in the motions that we filed on behalf of Davey, motion after motion, that the evidence showed that he was innocent. Photographic proof that the reflecting pool did not change, including using the government's own evidence, Kaitlan, that the reflecting pool did not change before and after he touched it. So it's hard to believe. We welcome, obviously, the government moving to dismiss it, but that part of their motion is implausible.
When you initially walked out of court that day, some people might have been surprised to see that you had a smile on your face in some moments. There were a lot of people out there with signs supporting you and cheering for you and criticizing your indictment. Was that the scene you were expecting when you walked out of court that day?
The amount of support I've received from my cycling community, my paddling community, my neighborhood and music and dance community, as well as the support from all of my great council team, that's been fantastic. And that smile was when I saw all those supporters outside the courtroom that day, that I have all these people behind me. That's what that smile was about.
If you had a final message to the president tonight about what has happened to you, about the Justice Department coming after you, what would you say to him?
And I don't think anyone likes being targeted or accused of things they didn't do. It's painful to be talked about like I'm some kind of scum or not a very nice person. It isn't, and for that to be coming from a place of untruth is just not right. Leaders don't do that.
all right, let's check out some of the evidence. So this is one of the videos that they're alleging that somebody was cutting up the pool with a razor blade. Let's take a look, shall we? See people cleaning the pool, see people walking by it, see someone reach down. I don't know what he's doing. You can't tell what he's doing. It doesn't look like he's cutting anything, that's for sure. Yeah, let's zoom out a little bit so that we can get a clearer picture of what's happening. Yeah, this is the type of evidence that they're saying, hey, look, he's vandalizing the pool. That's that's it? There's another worker bending in. The woman's bending down. I don't know what she's doing. She's not vandalizing the pool. Zoom out, zoom out. We don't want to get too close of a picture. Yeah, come on, dude. She's putting her hand down in the same spot. It is very hard to make out what she's doing. She's in the same spot as the other guy. Does not look like she's vandalizing it. The guy in the mobility scooter pulls up, gives a helping hand. I'm not gonna. It kind of looks like they're trying to get something out of there. But that was definitely not a 300-foot slit. That's pretty weak, man. Let's check in with Donald Trump to see how he feels about the charges.
Instead of going after the people that did it, the judge went after her and went after her department. And I guess she choked. I don't know what the hell happened.
Are you reconsidering her role?
I don't know what you don't. You're fake news. Don't ever talk again. You're fake news. One of the worst in the business. Fortunately, nobody watches you. But something happened. There was vandalism there, and there was some things from the contractor which we would fix. But it's almost complete, and when it opens, it's incredible. It's really incredible. But remember this: it leaked from 1922. It opened in 1922. They never solved the leak problem because it was stone, and the cracks with the stone. Stone is really not a waterproofing material. We essentially use a very high-grade swimming pool type material, which was my idea. I was very proud of that idea. And by the way, I didn't know the contractor. I would have said the contractor. I didn't know the contractor. But when it was completed, it was perfect.
He 1,000% knew the contractor on the no bid contract.
But then,
and thanks for saying that it was your idea, because your idea failed, bro.
somebody went in and cut it, just like they did the grass. You know, nobody talks about the grass. The grass, they have helicopter pictures.
Trump saying that Pirro choked on that is pretty funny, and then he blames it on the judge, like classic Trump. This guy's crashing out. This is just a wild response. I haven't heard from Jeanine Pirro since this happened. I don't know if she's made a public appearance yet, so I don't have a statement from her, but I do have one from the top law enforcement guy in the land, Todd Blanche.
Alex? Yeah, I mean, so you've declined to say whether you stand by Jeanine Pirro's decision to drop that case. What message does it send, though, if President Trump fires a U.S. attorney because she determined there was not sufficient evidence to charge 4 people with a crime?
Did he fire her?
What message would it send us? If
Hypothetically, if the president chose to fire a United States attorney, it turns out he's allowed to do that because he's the president of the United States. So I don't. And by the way, if
Todd Blanche is the biggest ball sucker out of all of them. My God.
if President Trump wanted to fire anybody, right, and within his administration, he understands he has the power to do that.
That was not the question, dude.
So when he makes a decision about whether to fire a U.S. attorney or anybody else, that's his. As far as any message, what I said earlier, Alex, is true, which is that when you look at the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office's body of work over the past year and a half and where we are in this city compared to where we were, they are doing a phenomenal job. Now, does that mean that every case goes exactly the way that President Trump or I want or U.S. Attorney Pirro wants?
I don't know. You guys are losing a lot of cases.
I think that what you've seen play out in the press with respect to
you're not even losing them;
Trump
they're getting
and
dismissed.
U.S. Attorney Pirro is it's all out there already. But I don't think that changes the fact that her prosecutors, her office, what they've done over the past year to transform the city into a place that we can all now walk around in after sunset is something that's incredible. So I don't think they're inconsistent with each other. All right, I'll take one more question.
Todd Blanche is so pathetic, man. What a word salad he gave. What was that? Was that a complete thought? And his Trump glazing is just so absurd. Basically, Trump could do whatever he wants in the eyes of the lead attorney in the land, who is also Trump's personal attorney. There's a bit of a conflict there. So the reflecting pool, I'm glad that the charges got dismissed. I hope they get dismissed with prejudice and we don't have to hear about this again, but we probably will. There'll be another thing that happens and Trump will blame some innocent person and we'll be here again talking about it. So if you guys want to talk about it with me, leave a comment down below. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next video.